What up, YouTube? You already know. Big Lou tapping back in with what it do with Big Lou and FZR2. Baby. It'd be highly appreciated. First time you come into the channel. If you sub, like, and share the channel with your family, friends, folks, gente, peoples, comrades, camaradas, associates, associos, buddies, pals, amigos, amicos, panas. And also, feel free to comment. I respond back to all the comments. With that being said, I took a little break during Thanksgiving, and I came on Wednesday and did a live stream with an interaction part one with Adam from Adam Prison Talks Prison TV, a guy out of Australia. He broke down a little bit of his childhood history and a little bit of his criminal history. And we will be doing a part two coming up soon. So if you haven't already, go to his channel, give him a sub, like, and share as well at Adam Talks Prison TV. Also, shouts out to Harvey at Harvey Talks Prison, Sticks at Stay Awake TV, Big Weevy at Weevy's World, Rick at VPS, Vegas Profiles. Also, Frank at Frank's Vibes, New Age Plug. There's a lot of channels. It's hard to remember everybody. But also, as I kind of broke down a while back and let everybody know, I do profiles on sports on from when I can remember, which is around 84-ish, pro wrestling, basketball, football, baseball, and boxing. And I break down guys that I remember more so than others during that time. And so I'm back with some profiles today, and this one here is on baseball. And as you guys can see, I got an Oakland A's hat on, right? So I only wear Oakland A's hats. But it's going to be on Carney Lansford and Ricky Henderson. Two well-known individuals. If you know baseball, then you know those names. Both were members of the Oakland A's during Ricky was there for two World Series, I believe, 89 and 90. And that was during the Bash Brother days. And Carney Lansford was there for 88, 89, and 90. And both are Bay Area natives. Ricky Henderson's from Oakland, California. And Carney Lansford's from Santa Clara, California. So before I get into it, my little sister's dad played with Carney Lansford. They went to the same high school. They were on the same high school baseball team at Wilcox High School in Santa Clara, California. And I remember looking at the yearbook, and he was in there on the team with them. Ricky Henderson went to, I always forget I don't remember if it's Oakland High or Oakland Tech, but a friend of the family, a good friend of the family, which had been knowing my brother before I was even born. So you're talking 44 years ago. We consider him a cousin. He has a cousin that played baseball with Ricky Henderson. Same thing. If you look at Ricky Henderson's autobiography, the high school baseball team picture, you see our cousin's cousin in there. And so, again, both natives of California. So we're going to start off with Carney Lansford. He's born on February 7, 1957. He's currently 65 years old, born in San Jose, California. He bats right, throws right. He's a third baseman. I forgot to mention that. He made his debut on April 8, 1978 for the California Angels, and he played his last game October 4th, 1992 for the Oakland Athletics. 15-year veteran of Major League Baseball. Here's some of his career Major League Baseball stats. He's a .290 career hitter. He has a total of 2,074 career hits with 151 home runs and 874 runs batted in. He played with the Angels from 1978 to 1980, and then he was traded to the Red Sox from 81 and 82, and then on to the A's from 83 to 92. He's an All-Star in 1988. He's a World Series champion in 1989. He's a Silver Slugger Award winner in 1981, and he's also an American League batting champion in 1981. So he was drafted by the Angels in the third round of the 875 Major League Baseball draft, right? Carney Lansford was the Angels' most successful rookie in 1978 and finished third in the overall AL Rookie of the Year voting. He was traded along with Rick Miller and Mark Clear from the Angels to the Red Sox for Rick Burleson and Butch Hobson on December 10th, 1980. In 81, he won the AL batting title in the strike-shortened season, right? Becoming the league's first right-handed hitter to win the batting title in the American League in 11 years. However, the emergence of Wade Boggs was my very first baseball profile, was Wade Boggs, Don Mattingly, and George Brett. Go back and refer back to that video. You'll see them in the thumbnail. He was drafted by the Red Sox. Everybody knows Wade Boggs is one of the greatest hitters of the 80s, the decade of the 80s. And he has about 6 or 7 batting titles under his belt. So when the Red Sox drafted him, they moved Carney Lansford on over to the A's in a trade that involved Tony Artemas during the 82 offseason. Lansford became the A's regular third baseman and was there from 88 through 92 dynasty. Typically hitting second behind the other guy in his profile, Rickey Henderson. Lansford narrowly missed winning his second batting title in 89 with a 336 average, but he fell short second place to the AL's winner that year, Kirby Puckett, who finished with a 339 average. Although his power numbers dropped off during those years and he missed almost all of the 91 season with the injury, Lansford's speed and solid hitting made him a significant contributor to the A's dynasty. He played in 3 World Series with the A's, which I already mentioned. We lost in 88 to the Dodgers. Everybody remembers that Kirk Gibson home run off of Dennis Eckersley. They also had solid pitching from Oral Hershiser. And then 88, we beat the Giants, San Francisco Giants, in the Bay Area, the Bay Series, which was known for that horrific earthquake. And then we lost in 1990 to the Reds. In his 15-year career, Lansford, like I mentioned, was a 290 hitter, and he also had 224 stolen bases in 1,862 games. In 5 American League Championship Series, 3 World Series covering 33 games, he hit 305, 39 for 128 with 2 home runs and 18 RBIs. Baseball writer Bill James ranked Lansford 39th all-time as all-time third baseman of forever. That's pretty good. He was a hitting coach for the San Francisco Giants during the 2008 and 2009 seasons. Lansford was relieved of his duties following the 2009 season, and then he was hired by the Rockies for the 2011 season. And then in 2015, Lansford was batting coach for the Lamigo Monkeys of the CPBL League. And I'm gonna give a little background on his kids. He was also, if you guys remember that movie Angels in the Outfield, he had a cameo role as Kit, Hit or Die Casey of the White Sox, and Mel Clark, played by Danza, retires for the final out of the Angels pennant winning game in '94 of that remake, right? And he also claimed to be a direct descendant of Sir Francis Drake. He has a couple kids that played in the baseball, Major League Baseball farm system, and a couple of brothers as well. Like I had mentioned, he grew up in Santa Clara, and he's one of only a few Major League Baseball players that played in both the Little League World Series and Major League Baseball World Series, right? Also, Carney Lansford was, when I think back to Carney Lansford, he had that certain batting stance where he was choked all up and he had the bat all, ready to go. In my eyes, even though they say he wasn't that good of a defensive third baseman at that time during those years, 88 through 90, I definitely would have had him in contention for being on my team, during those years, if I was to make a team. I mean, if you look back at it in the Major League, in the American League, you had Wade Boggs, you had Carney, Lansford, just a few guys that stick out at third base to me. Robin Ventura, you know what I mean? And he was part of that, like I said, the Bash Brothers era, which was that good, 1987-ish through 1990, 91, 92, whatever you want to call it, which along with Jose Canseco, Mark McGuire, Rickey Henderson, Dave Henderson, Terry Steinbach, Walt Weiss, Tony Phillips, Mike Gallegos, Ron Hassey, Dave Parker was there, Don Baylor was there. You know what I mean? The A's had a lot of power. They had a very talented team. Like I said, the 1988 World Series, they were highly favored to win that. But the Dodgers, who really didn't have like no stand out superstars like the A's did, yeah, you had Mike Davis, Mickey Hatcher, Kirk Gibson was a decent player with the Tigers, and he came on over. He was injured, but nonetheless, he still cracked out that home run. You had Pedro Guerrero, Steve Sachs. You know what I mean? Really no powerhouse superstars. You know what I mean? Yeah, Pedro Guerrero was a star. Maybe Kirk Gibson was a star, but superstarish, no. The A's had, Canseco, McGuire, Ricky Henderson. You know what I mean? Um, so he just sticks out to me as a player that's, real deal Holyfield player. And that's a little bit about Carney Lansford. I did meet one of his brothers one time in the town we lived in. At that time, his brother worked at the local Kmart, and he looked dead on like Carney Lansford. He was just a lot taller. I want to say he was obviously he was a bigger man weight wise and all that than Carney Lansford. And he looked dead on like him, and he went to school with my sister's dad as well, knew him by face. As soon as he see him, knew right who he was. And he was just, how sometimes you got brothers and sisters, they're just a year younger than you, maybe two. So high school is 4 years different. So you could be a freshman going to school with seniors. And like I said, they were on the baseball team, and like I had mentioned too, Carney Lansford had a couple brothers at baseball. And so, they were known, so-called jocks and stuff like that back in the day, you know what I mean? So the other part of this profile is on Ricky Henderson, born Ricky Nelson Henley Henderson, born on December 25th, 1958. He's currently 63 years old, and he's born in Chicago, Illinois. Bats right, throws left, and he's born on June 24th. He made his debut on June 24th, 1979 for the A's, and he played his last game on September 19th, 2003 for the Dodgers. He's a career 279 hitter with 3,055 hits, 297 home runs, 1,115 runs batted in. He's got 1,406 stolen bases for his career, and he has 2,295 career runs. He started off with the A's from 79 to 84, the Yankees from 85 to 89, back to the A's from 89 to 93, the Toronto Blue Jays for the 93 season, back to the A's from 94 and 95, San Diego Padres 96 and 97, the Anaheim Angels for 97, back to the A's 1998, New York Mets 99 and 2000, the Mariners from 2000, the Padres 2001, the Red Sox 2002, and the Dodgers 2003. He's a 10-time All-Star, 1980, 1982, 1983, 1984, 1985, 1986, 1987, 1988, 1990, and 1991. He's a two-time World Series champion, 89 with the A's and 1993 with the Blue Jays. He's an ALCS MVP of 89. He's a Golden Glove Award winner only once in 81. That's quite a bit surprising to me. I thought he would have more Golden Gloves than that. He's a three-time Silver Slugger Award winner, 81, 85, and 90. He's a 12-time AL stolen base leader, 1980 through 1986, 1988 through 1991, and then 1999. His number 24 is retired by the Oakland A's, and he's part of the Oakland A's Hall of Fame. He's got Major League Baseball records that he holds is 1,406 career stolen bases, 2,295 career runs. He's got the most runs in history, and he's got 130 stolen bases for a single season. And I know he has the most leadoff home runs to lead off a game. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2009 with 95% of the vote. Let's see. So he holds, like I said, he holds a single season record for bases stolen in 1982 with 130, and is the only player in major American League history to steal 100 bases in a season, having done it 3 times. His 1,406 career steals is 50% higher than the previous record of 938 by Lou Brock. Henderson is the all-time stolen base leader for the Oakland A's and previously held the New York Yankees franchise record from 88 to 2011. He was among the league's top 10 base stealers in 21 different seasons. He was named the AL MVP, like I mentioned, in 90, and he was the leadoff hitter for 2 World Series champions. Also, his 25-year career elevated him to the top 10 in several other categories, including career at-bats, games, and outfield putouts and total chances. His high on base percentage, power hitting, and stolen base and total runs made him one of most dominant and innovative players of all time. He was also further known for his unquenchable passion for playing baseball and buoyant, eccentric, and quotable personality that both perplexed and entertained fans. Once asked if he thought Henderson was a future Hall of Famer, statistician Bill James replied, "If you could split him in two, you'd have two Hall of Famers." So Ricky Henderson used to always speak about himself in the third person. So instead of him saying, "Yeah, I would do this, I do that, I like to do that, I would like to do this," he would say, "Ricky Henderson likes to do that, Ricky likes to do this, Ricky likes to do that." So let's talk about his early years a little bit. Henderson was born, like I said, December 25th, 1958 in Chi-Town, Illinois, in the back seat of an Oldsmobile on the way to the hospital. Henderson later joked, I was already fast. I couldn't wait." He was named Ricky Nelson Henley after singer-actor Ricky Nelson, and is the son of John L. Henley and Bobby Henley. When he was 2 years old, his father moved to Oakland. Ricky lived with his grandmother in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, from when he was 2 until he was 7. Migrated to Oakland with his family. His father died in an automobile accident 10 years after leaving home. His mother married Paul Henderson in Ricky Henley's junior year of high school, and the family adopted the Henderson surname. As a child, learning to play baseball in Oakland, Henderson developed the ability to bat right-handed, although he was naturally left-handed thrower and a rare combination for a baseball player, especially non-pitchers. In the entire history of the Major League Baseball through the 2008 series, only 57 position players are known to have batted right and thrown left, and Ricky is easily the most successful player to do so. Henderson later said, "All my friends were right-handed and swung from the right side, so I thought that's the way it was supposed to be done." In 76, Henderson graduated. Here we go. This answers my question. I always forget this, but I wrote it down. Oakland Tech High School, and he played baseball and basketball and football, and was an All-American running back with a pair of 1,000-yard rushing seasons. He also ran track, but did not stay with the team as the schedule conflicted with baseball. Henderson received over a dozen scholarship offers to play football. Despite a childhood dream to play for the Oakland Raiders, he turned down the scholarships on advice of his mother, who argued that baseball players had shorter careers. In '83, Henderson married his high school sweetheart, Pamela. They have 3 children, Angela, Alexis, and Adriana. So Henderson made his major league debut with Oakland A's on June 24, '79, getting 2 hits and 4 at-bats. Along with a stolen base, he batted .274 with 33 stolen bases in 89 games. That's pretty darn good, right? In '80, Henderson became the 3rd modern-era player to steal 100 bases in a season. Maury Wells, 104 and 62. Lou Brock, 118 and 74, had preceded him. His 100 steals broke Eddie Collins' franchise record of 81 in 1910, what were then the Philadelphia Athletics, and set a new American League record, surpassing Ty Cobb's 96 set in 1915. He also batted .303 and had 179 hits, tied for 9th in the AL. Scored 111 runs, 4th in the AL, drew 117 walks, 2nd in the AL, and had a .420 on-base percentage, 3rd in the AL, and led the AL by reaching base 301 times. That winter, Henderson played in the Puerto Rican Professional Baseball League. His 42 stolen bases broke that league's record as well. So that was only his 2nd season. He was already doing quite well as far as the statistics. It's more to it than just home runs all the time. Henderson was an MVP candidate a year later in a season shortened by players' strike. He hit .319, 4th in the AL, and led the league in hits 135, runs 89, and steals 56. Henderson was also 3rd in on-base percentage, 408, and tied for 2nd in triples with 7, 4th in walks with 64, 8th in total bases with 185, and 2nd in times reaching base 201. In doing so, he became the emblematic figure of the Oakland manager Billy Martin's aggressive Billy Ball. So Ricky Henderson, after all those years he played with the A's, he became well. Here's a little bit more I'll tell you before I say what I'm going to say now. Henderson also made Major League Baseball history in '83 with his third 100 runs, 100 stolen bases, 100 walks season. No modern player has done it once, and he did it 3 times. Um, he led the AL in stolen bases with 108, walks with 103, while finishing fourth in runs scored 105. He was also second in on-base percentage with 414, tied for ninth in triples with 7, fifth in times on base, and reaching base 257 times. So after he developed all this skill, he was an offensive juggernaut. Not so much like I said with home runs, but just getting on base, swinging that bat, making contact. You know what I mean? 84, which was also the final season of his first stint in Oakland, Henderson started to develop more of a power stroke, hitting 16 home runs while leading the league in stolen bases, 66, finishing second in runs scored, 113, and third in on-base percentage, 339. After the season, he was traded to the New York Yankees. After his muscular frame developed, Henderson continued to improve as a hitter. His increasing power ability eventually led to a record for home runs to lead off a game. During his career, he hit over 20 home runs in 4 different seasons, with a high of 28 in '86 and again in '90. So Ricky Henderson is real well. He's built. You know what I'm saying? He's not. He's got some that running back type body. And he's got real big upper thighs. You know what I'm saying? And when you see him, stealing from going from first to second, you know what I mean. You can see the strength. You know what I'm saying, in his strides. He's not a very big dude. You know what I'm saying? About 5'9", but 5'10" maybe. But he hit that 3,000 hit mark. He played 25 seasons. A lot of you guys heard from when I was saying what teams. A lot of those teams he was with, he was just with them half a season or a whole season. But it was no more than just, if it was 2008, it was 2008. You know what I'm saying? A lot of those teams, and he bounced around a lot towards the end of his career. But he was an athlete. He liked to compete. And he was doing some things. So he goes to the Yankees, right? In December '84, Henderson was traded to the Yankees along with Burt Bradley for 5 players: Tim Burt Sass, Jay Howell, Stan Javier, Eric Plunk, and Jose Rio. Stan Javier and Jose Rio definitely stick out of those guys. Eric Plunk rings. I remember Eric Plunk as well. In his first season with the Yanks, he led the league in runs scored with 146, stolen bases 80, and fourth in batting average 314, and also 99 walks with the on-base percentage of 419. Seventh in slugging, 516, third in OPS, 934, and he hit 24 home runs. He also won the Silver Slugger Award and was third in voting for the MVP award. His 146 runs scored were the most since Ted Williams had 150 in 1950, and he became the first player since Jimmy Fox in 1939 to amass more runs scored than games played. Henderson became the first player in Major League history to reach 80 stolen bases and 20 home runs in the 1985 season. He matched the feat in '86, as did the Reds' Eric Davis. They remain the only players in Major League Baseball history who are the 2080 club. In '86, he led the AL in runs scored, 130, stolen bases 87 for the second year in a row, and was ninth in walks, 89, and extra base hits, 64, while hitting 28 home runs, 9 of which led off the game, and had 74 ribbies. Ricky Henderson was, like I said, he straight a beast, right? And then he goes back to the A's from '89 to '93, and this was considered the Bash Brothers era, right? Following a midseason trade back to Oakland in '89, Henderson reasserted himself as one of the game's greatest players with the memorable half season in which his 52 steals and 72 runs scored led the A's into the postseason. His 126 walks for the year were the most for any AL hitter since 1970, with a record 8 steals in 5 games. He was named MVP of the American League Championship Series. He hit 400 while scoring 8 runs and delivering 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 7 walks, and a 1,000 slugging percentage, leading the A's to a 4-game sweep over the San Francisco Giants and the franchise's first World Series title since 1974, when they won 3 in a row, 72, 73, 74. Henderson hit .474 with the .895 slugging average, including 2 triples and a homer, while stealing 3 more bases. And then on August 22nd, '89, he became Nolan Ryan's 5,000 strikeout victim. But Henderson took an odd delight in the occurrence, saying, "If you haven't been struck out by Nolan Ryan, you're a nobody." Well, that's true, right? A year later, Henderson finished second in the league in batting average with a mark of .325, losing out to Kansas City Royals' George Brett on the final day of the season. Henderson had a remarkably consistent season, with his batting average falling below .320 only one game, the third of the year, reaching safety by a hit or walk in 125 of his 136 games. He led the league in runs, 119, stolen bases, 65, on base percentage, 439, OPS 1.016, was second in slugging percentage, 577, fourth in walks, 97, and extra hits, 66, sixth in home runs, 28, and total bases, 289, and had 61 RBIs. Henderson won the AL MVP award and helped Oakland to another pennant. He again performed well in the World Series, batting .333 with the .667 slugging, a home run, and 3 steals in 4 games. But the A's were swept by the underdog Reds. Okay, and that pretty much closed out the decade of that was 1990. Excuse me. On May 1st, '91, Henderson broke one of baseball's most noted records when he stole 939 stolen base of his career, one more than Lou Brock's total compiled from 61 to 79, mainly with the Cardinals. And then in '93, he went on to join the Blue Jays, and he won the World Series with the '93 Blue Jays as well. And he had another outstanding season when he was traded to Toronto at the trade deadline. In 90 games with Oakland, he was batting .327, second in the AL with 17 home runs and 47 RBIs. He also had scored 77 runs, 31 stolen bases, drew 85 walks, had a .469 on-base percentage, and was slugging .553. On July 16, '93, Henderson broke the world stolen base record by stealing his 1,066th base, thus going past the record which was previously held by Yutaka Yamamoto. And then in '93, the A's traded him to the Blue Jays for Steve Carsey and Jose Herrera, and he got another ring with them. But Ricky Henderson was part of, like I said, the Batch Brothers, which I mentioned earlier, which was Carney Lansford, Jose Canseco, Mark McGuire, Dave Henderson, Terry Steinbach, Walt Weiss, Dave Parker, Don Baylor, Tony Phillips, Mike Gallegos, all those guys, right? And like I said, he bounced all around for a while there, um, with a lot of different teams towards the end of his career, and then he retired in just before the '03 season. Let's see if I think I want to say that, he's a big Oakland hero, a native. Like I said, he's a native of Oakland. Um, you know, um, his image and personality. So Tom Verducci wrote in '03, there are certain figures in American history who have passed into the realm of cultural mythology as if reality could no longer contain their stories. And he said Ricky Henderson is one of those, right? um, Ricky Henderson was proud of a $1 million signing bonus that he framed it instead of cashing it, thus losing several months' interest. Similarly, Henderson refused to spend his per diem money that all players receive on road trips. Instead, he would put the envelopes containing the cash in a box, and when one of his children performed well in school, he would invite them to choose an envelope out of the box and keep its contents. That's what's up. Um, Ricky Henderson was he was a one-of-a-kind player, right? Um, he's definitely, when you think of leadoff hitters, definitely Ricky Henderson has got to come to your mind. When you think of stolen bases, and running those bags, it's definitely Ricky Henderson. Like I said, I was a little surprised that he only had one Golden Glove that he ever won in his career. I thought he would have had a few, you know. But again, and then too, like I mentioned with Carney Lansford, where they have their own style, their hitting style, their hitting stance. Ricky Henderson had definitely his own too, and then he batted right and threw left, so it was very unusual to see that. That's not a thing you usually see, you know. But Ricky Henderson definitely is one of my all-time favorite players. I think from players that I actually watch play, it's Ricky Henderson, it's Canseco, Bonds, Eric Davis, Darryl Strawberry. You know what I mean? Those guys stick out to me in my as a kid. Those are my favorite players, outfielder wise. Um, and Carney Lansford, third baseman. You know what I'm saying? It was like I said, it was only a few guys back then, third baseman that stuck out like that. You know, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this profile short. This is about Ricky Henderson, Carney Lansford. If you haven't already, again, sub, like, and share to the channel at What to Do with Big Lou. NFCR2, baby, baby. All right, peoples. Out.